Good morning, dear students. Students, as finals exams are coming and we have finished our syllabus, so in these last few remaining days, we shall revise the syllabus for this exam. And as we have already discussed up to chapter 6, so in today's class, we will discuss chapter number 7 and 8. So let us first give you a short summary of the seventh chapter, that is Gulliver in the Land of Giants. So, students, the story is about a man whose name was Gulliver and who was a surgeon. And he used to like to go on long voyages, means journeys. So, once he went on board and set out to sail for Surat, that is in East Indies. Then Gulliver, with some other crew members, left the Cape of Good Hope and sailed through the and was sailing through the Straits of Madagascar on their way to India. Then, on their way, they encounter a huge, strong wind along with heavy rain, and it was then become difficult for them to look at things clearly. Then they saw an island, and Gulliver walked up the hill. He saw that the land was full of rocks and with no trees and grass. Then, after some time, he just turned towards his ship, but he found that his crew members were leaving the island without him, and a very, very giant man was following them. And seeing that, Gulliver became very much frightened. He then just ran to hide himself in a cornfield from that huge giant man. The giant then finally could locate him and picked him up from the ground. The man handed Gulliver to his master. He brought him to his home and put him on their dining table. They then put him on bed, and Gulliver just slept as he was very much tired. Next morning, when he woke up, the farmer's daughter became his first friend in that land of giant, and she even stitched new clothes for him and also played with him. And Gulliver was learning their language from her. She even found that the land where he was in was named as Borbdingang. And Gulliver named the farmer's daughter Glumdalclitch, which means a little nurse, because she used to take care of Gulliver. Then the farmer got an idea to earn money from showing Gulliver. He used to carry him to the market every day in a small box with some holes. And each and every day thousands of people come to see him, but Gulliver didn't like to treat it as a monkey and becomes tired due to the overwork. One day the queen heard of Gulliver. He then came to see him and got pleased by his manners. She then bought Gulliver from the farmer with a huge amount, by some thousands of gold pieces, and took him to her palace, and she also took Glumdalclitch to stay with him. The queen then made a beautiful box for him with a bed, chair, table, and a cabinet. And very soon Gulliver regained his health. One morning, Glumdalclitch put Gulliver's box on the window sill, and the cake on Gulliver's plate attracted the wasps. They were even big as partridges, and Gulliver had to fight with them with his sword. One day and another incident happened. The queen made a boat for him, thinking that Gulliver will love a rowing exercise. And once an attendant poured a large bucket of water into it with a large frog. The frog then jumped over him and almost suffocated him. And at last Gulliver hit it with his oar. Then one day and another incident happened when Gulliver had to escape from a monkey. The monkey peeped into his room and snatched him. He then jumped out of the window after hearing the opening of the door. He then took Gulliver to the roof and stuffed some nuts in his mouth. Soon other people got ladders. The monkey then got scared and dropped him and fled from the roof. In that island, Gulliver spent nearly 2 years. And finally, one day he got a chance to go back to England. Once, the king and the queen journeyed to the south coast of the country. Glumdalclitch and Gulliver also went with him. But Gulliver got fever on their way, and Glumdalclitch handed Gulliver to a boy to carry him to the shore for some fresh air. There Gulliver fell asleep. Suddenly he woke up by a violent jerk at his box. He tried to peep out but could see only clouds from his window. He heard the sound of beating of wings of a bird. He guessed that a huge eagle had picked up his box. Suddenly he felt as if it was falling down, and after a few moments his box was floating on the sea. He was shouting for help, and then someone said that he was safe and pulled him out of the water. He soon found himself on a British ship. He told them his story, but no one believed him. And to prove himself, he showed them various things that he had with him, like comb, pins, gold rings, etc. Gulliver then finally reached England, and for next many months he feared getting crushed under people's feet. Now students, let me show you the question answers once again. Number 1. What natural disaster struck the adventurer after he crossed the straits? Answer is a sea storm struck the adventurer after they crossed the strait. Number 2. What did Gulliver notice about the place where they harbored their ship? The answer is Gulliver noticed that the place where they harbored their ship was a rocky and bare land without trees and grass. Number 3. What made the crew sail away in a hurry? The crew had to sail away in a hurry as a man bigger than a giant was following them. And number 4. What did Gulliver name the farmer's daughter? Why did he give her that name? The answer is Gulliver named the farmer's daughter Glumdalclitch. He gave her that name as it signifies a little nurse, and the farmer's daughter was taking care of him like a nurse. Number 5. Why does Gulliver feel that he was liked at the palace? The answer is Gulliver feels that he was liked at the palace as the queen bought Gulliver from the farmer, paying a huge amount, and apart from this, she has provided a lot of facilities to Gulliver, like making a cabinet, a boat, and taking him to a journey to the south coast. The number C. But here too I had an accident. Who is I here? Answer is here I is Gulliver. Number B. Where is he or she? How did he or she get there? And the answer is he is on a boat. The queen made the boat for Gulliver and put him on it to row. Number 7. How did Gulliver prove to the captain that the land of giants did exist? Gulliver proved the captain that the land of giants exists by showing different things that he had with him, like a huge comb, foot-long pins, and the queen's gold ring. Number 8. The farmer was a greedy man and an unfailing man. Do you agree or disagree? Why? I agree with this statement because the farmer took Gulliver to the market and earned money from him. He didn't even look after Gulliver's health and made him work tirelessly every day. Then the textual grammar comes, where we learnt about modal verbs. So students, modal verb is a special type of helping verb, and they help to speak in a formal or ask permission. And the modal verbs we have are can, could, should, may, will, would, etc. So, students, we can use can or could to talk about ability to do something. They are also used to ask permission or to give permission. Then may is used to ask polite permission or to give polite answers. We use will or would to talk about habits or things we usually do or did. The number D, we use must or should to say when something is necessary or unnecessary to give advice. Then students, here we learned about letter writing. So a letter is a written message that can be written or hand printed, and we have three types of letter, that is formal, informal and semi-formal, and from out of this we will learn the informal letter here. So students, the main parts of an informal letter are the heading, greeting, message, conclusion or subscription, and signature. So I hope that you have well revised this chapter. Now let us proceed to the next chapter for the revision. So the next lesson is Too Many Professor. Let me give you the summary of this chapter also. So students, the story is about Professor Brainstorm, who used to love inventing many new things, but all his inventions got failed. And his housekeeper, that is Mrs. Flittersnope, and his best friend Colonel Deadshot had to suffer a lot of this. So one day, Mrs. Flittersnope got a very unpleasant smell. She was thinking that it cannot be of the drains, as a man saw them yesterday, and it also couldn't be uh, got bad something in the larder, as she cleaned it this morning. Then she thought that maybe Professor is inventing something, a new thing. And when he went to see, then she found that yes, she was correct. Professor was inventing something, but she asked him to stop all this because a very bad odor was coming out of it. The professor then showed her inventions, as he invented a liquid which will bring life to any picture. And to prove his point, he poured some of the liquid on a picture of some apples. Then after some time, the apples came alive, and the apples were a success except a flowery flavor in it. He told that he will spray some liquid on a picture of chocolates, but it will cost more than to buy the chocolates. But there are some limitations in this liquid, as when the liquid dries off, the things it brings life go back as they are. And he also did not know that it will work on animals or humans or not. Then the professor poured some of the liquid on the picture of a mouse, but by mistake an elephant also came alive. The Mrs. Flittersnope got scared after seeing that elephant, and she left the house by telling that today she will not come, as she is going to stay with her sister Edgy today. And the elephant then dropped the entire liquid on his photo album, and all the photographs came alive. And there were too many professors, Flittersnopes, and various other persons who came alive. And the professor was alive of different ages. And they were telling and doing the things which were happening when the pictures were taken. And after some time, Professor saw that the liquid was drying up and the characters were going back. Mrs. Fluttersnope then wrote a letter to Professor that if he promised not to invent things again, then only she will return. The professor then wrote back that the liquid has finished and he's not going to invent it anymore. Then Mrs. Flittersnope came and professor was telling her that he is going to write about the liquid, but Mrs. Flittersnook told him that no one is going to believe on him. So this is the story. Now let me show you the question answers. Number 1 is, how did Mrs. Flittersnook realize that something was wrong? How did she think it was? What was the truth? The answer is, when Mrs. Flittersnook got an awful smell, she realized that something was wrong. Mrs. Flittersnook thought that the smell was of drains or of larder. The truth was that the smell was coming from Professor Benstorm's study room. Question number 2. Do you think that the professor is silly or intelligent? Why do you think so? And the answer is, the professor is intelligent. I think so because he had invented a liquid that can give lives to pictures. So these are the question answers from the chapter. Then we have textual grammar, where we discussed about adverbs. So students, adverbs are the words that give us information about verbs. And we have 4 types of adverbs: adverbs of degree, adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, and time. And out of these 4, today we will discuss only the adverbs of degree. So student, adverbs of degree tells us the strength of something that happens, and the adverbs of degree that we use are sufficiently, almost, entirely, greatly, practically, strongly, totally, very, politely, very, partially, extremely, etc. So these are the adverbs of degree, and with it we have finished our discussion on this chapter also, and as well as today's class. And in tomorrow's class we shall discuss or revise the other remaining parts. So as for now, thank you so much.